Welcome back to another Waynos Fotos video, and today we're talking about a company that is taking its own steps to cut back because the bicycle industry is in decline. We've discussed that. We've had companies going to the wall. So if a company wants to stop that, they need to make some changes, and Trek is one of these companies. Now, what they've decided to do is they've decided to cut staff by 10%, and also the stock that they're keeping for the future, they're going to cut by 40%. So that's almost a cost of almost 50% that they don't have to hold in components that are waiting in a factory or in a distributor. And they could probably even downsize that building and go to a smaller building because they don't have as much stock. They almost have as half, so the leasing of that company, the leasing of that area or that building can be less. So that's probably a really good move. And the CEO has announced this and sent a letter to the other executives on the board. And it's unfortunate for people who are going to lose their job in the bicycle industry because the sad thing about that is there's no other place to go in the bike industry because the bicycle industry is in decline, and what's going to happen is no one else wants to employ those people because they can't afford to, because those sorts of people are like it's in decline. So we can't take on any more people. No one's expanding. The bicycle industry is in contraction, not expansion. So if you leave a company like Trek, even though you may have really good credentials, who's going to take it on because everyone's in decline, everyone's shedding staff. So that's pretty sad to hear about the other people who are in the industry who are going to be losing their jobs. I don't like to see people lose their jobs. That's really sad because they've got families and all that sorts of other things. So that's very unfortunate, but you've got to look at it this way. If the company doesn't contract, then the whole company could go under and then everyone could lose their job. So that's probably a good decision to be made by the CEO. I don't like these sorts of decisions, but businesses go up and down, and they had a boom time in COVID, and now not only is it being reset, there's a lot more other competitions for other type of personal vehicles to get you around or commute around. Now, I did have one comment in one of the previous videos, and they were saying, hey, look, these sorts of bikes, that we talking about, these upper-end bikes, they're not commuter bikes. It's a completely different market, whatever. Well, I kind of challenged that a little bit because very, very small percentage of people actually race. So yes, they may not specifically be commuting or buying the bike to be a commute, but they're enthusiasts. So what they will probably do is they commute, and they do what I should do. I don't do this so much anymore, but you ride to work, you go on group rides, all those sorts of things, and then you're also combining that. So because you've got to keep your kilometers up to keep yourself in a good condition. So really, they're enthusiasts. Yes, they may not just be using it as a commuter, but they're using it for group rides, riding around in circles like we all do. And then they're probably riding to work as well to keep their fitness up because you don't go on a group ride every day. So that's the type of market that I think the better bikes are heading into. They're people who, it's a hobby, they want to wear all the kit. It's kind of like, when you get into something like golf, you buy the gloves, you buy your good clubs and the bags and everything like that, and you want to look the part. And that's the same in the cycling industry. Some people say they can be a negative, but people like to feel like they're inclusive and they buy all the gear. So that's where we are. Trek is in decline, unfortunately, and they making their cutbacks. So hopefully that won't go to the wall, and they've made those changes in time to be able to keep the downcline with the expenditures and the purchases in line with the decline or the contraction of their business. Well, anyway, guys, if you've got any comments about it, leave them down below, and I will see you next vid.